Have you ever driven home and realised you don't remember the last 5 miles? What if your whole life felt like that? Philosophers call this the existential vacuum. This idea isn't new. Viktor Frankl was writing about it decades ago, but most of us experience it long before we ever learn the name. It's an autopilot state where you drift through life, moving day to day as an observer rather than a participant. You watch opportunities pass by, waiting for some unseen event to arrive and give your life meaning. That sense of drift, that heaviness of doing without becoming, is what we'll call existential inertia. Not the inertia described by Ed Feser. The idea that once something exists, it continues to exist unless acted upon, but a distinctly modern form of inertia, often used interchangeably with the existential vacuum itself. We're going to explore why this happens, and, more importantly, how to reignite your fire and reclaim your life, without waiting for someone else to hand that meaning to you. Existential inertia is the slow, almost imperceptible drift through life caused by uncertainty or fear. It's a state of inner emptiness or boredom. Frankl argued that we try to fill this hole in our souls with power, money, or mindless pleasure. Existing is just filling time, while living is finding a meaning that makes that time worth spending. Inertia is different from depression, though they often overlap. You're not necessarily sad all the time, but you feel stuck, disconnected, or like life lacks momentum. Think about a canoe in a still river. Without paddling, it floats wherever the current takes it. Existential inertia is that current, invisible, and quietly carrying you away from your potential. So why does it happen? Mostly because we resist the responsibility of freedom. Freedom isn't a gift. It's a burden we're responsible for carrying. As existentialist thinkers like Sartre said, man is condemned to be free. The very freedom to choose our work, relationships, priorities can feel paralyzing. Too much choice, too little time, and never enough confidence to take the leap. Alan Watts often said, thinking can become a way of avoiding action, where choice turns into endless hesitation. When choice becomes overwhelming, inertia sets in. The mind defaults to the routine and to distraction, carrying on with the same old drudgery. Watts is suggesting that choosing is often just the mind spinning its wheels. The real move happens when you stop thinking and start doing. So what are the common signs of this inertia? How would you experience it day to day? It starts when you wake up and go through the motions and can't remember why. You delay decisions, large or small, endlessly. You consume large amounts of media by doom scrolling, binging, or just killing time. You rationalize staying stuck, saying you'll do it next week or year. You pick arbitrary dates to make the move, to quit your job, to move abroad, and tell yourself that you just need to get the money together, but that can be done later. Notice that inertia doesn't feel urgent. It's subtle. It creeps in through small compromises every day, leaving you years later wondering where your life has gone. Now that we know this feeling a little better, what's behind it? It seems there are 3 main causes. A fear of failure. The mind whispers, what if I try and fail? Often we find it better to stay in our comfort zone. Why risk the ridicule of the rabid mob? A fear of success. A success requires responsibility. A responsibility you are shouldering every day. Many unconsciously avoid it. Jordan Peterson talks about responsibility extensively in his early lectures, about how taking on responsibility can give you meaning in life, starting with the smallest step of just cleaning your room. And finally, a fear of testing your worldview. If you don't act, you can't test your values. Existential inertia protects you from discovering uncomfortable truths about yourself and what you may need to change. Kierkegaard argued that anxiety shows up precisely when we're standing in front of possibility, when becoming someone is finally on the table. Existential inertia is self-perpetuating. Avoiding movement reduces anxiety, but in the long run it increases anxiety, gives a feeling of emptiness and dissatisfaction. This isn't just a personal problem. Modern life is engineered for drift. Writers like Aldous Huxley saw this coming. Systems that keep us comfortable, distracted, and quietly unfulfilled. We build systems that reward compliance over fulfillment. Jobs where you trade your hours for survival, clocking in as a person, clocking out as a husk. The work gets done, but you don't grow. We flood ourselves with endless digital entertainment, content that distracts rather than engages, numbs rather than challenges. Not because it enriches us, because it keeps us occupied, quiet, and manageable. Then consumer culture steps in. Buy something, anything except facing the deeper question of whether your life is actually moving in a direction you chose. And socially, we mistake motion for progress. We praise busyness, we reward exhaustion. We measure success by how full the calendar looks, not by whether the day meant anything. In this environment, existential inertia isn't an accident, it's the default. When everyone around you is drifting too, stagnation starts to feel normal. You stop questioning it. You call it adult life. It's a form of conditioning, a form that needs to be broken. Because once you see how this conditioning is reinforced, externally as much as internally, you stop blaming yourself, and your awareness of how you've been manipulated is the first crack in the system. Existentialists like Camus believed meaning isn't found by waiting. Inertia thrives on autopilot. Replace passive habits with intentional ones. These moments reintroduce friction, and friction is where awareness returns. Seek out discomfort. Do things that stretch you just enough to remind you that resistance isn't a stop sign. Try something you're bad at. Put yourself where growth is unavoidable. Our inertia is human. Everyone feels it. The goal isn't to eliminate hesitation or uncertainty. It's to stop letting them decide your life for you. So don't fix everything. Just notice one place you've gone adrift. Guide your canoe there first. One stroke of the paddle, one deliberate act. Because meaning doesn't appear when you wait long enough. It emerges when you choose to move, before you feel ready. And in that moment, inertia stops being the cage you live in and becomes the weight you finally choose to lift.